Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to your favorite current affairs program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. On today's program, we'll be taking a look at a crucial national issue. All Nigerians, those within the country, Nigerians in the diaspora, are all enthusiastic, are all hopeful. They have expressed optimism that they believe that Nigeria can become a great country. Nigeria can only become a great country. There is a school of thought that believes that the educational sector must be revamped, must be improved on. It is believed that a well-educated society will also be a better society. Well, joining me on today's program, I have an educationist and, of course, an analyst, Comrade Ben Osunde. Nice to have you on the program today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Balao.
Okay.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for making me part of this program.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, our other guest is being awaited. Hopefully will join us on the program. So we are actually looking at the correlation between the correlation of education and development of the country is what we are looking at. The relationship between education and development of the country. It is believed that even the insecurity in Nigeria could be tackled if all Nigerians are given access to education from the early stage, a well-reformed mind, a well-educated mind, so that they can think rationally and think of what they can do for the country, what they can do for the development of Nigeria. Well, let me get the thought of Comrade Ben Osunde. Yes, what's your thoughts on this issue of the correlation of education and development in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. From this subject under discussion, there are two key areas here: education and development of the nation, Nigeria in focus. To me, education is a crucial sector of any nation. When you neglect education, the possibility that the nation will find it difficult to develop will be very high. So I believe that education should be seen as a tool, as a critical tool in developing any nation. First and foremost, what is the meaning of education? Education is simply the development of an individual.
Okay.
When you develop an individual through learning, you take them through a learning process according to their interests and ability, in such a way they will be able to meet up with the needs of the society. That is education.
Okay.
Then also the area of development. Development of Nigeria will lead to a developed society. And what is developed society? A developed society is a society that is able to provide source of living to the majority of its inhabitants. Also taking premium in the area of poverty alleviation, provision of food, shelter to its members. Okay. So there is a relationship between education and that of development of any country. There's a strong correlation, a strong relationship between these two concepts.
Okay, thank you, Comrade. We'll come back to you, but we'll just take a break now. And when we come back, my second guest, Professor Job Odion, will be joining us. He's a professor of law and educationist as well, a legal practitioner, and he will be giving us his own thought on this issue. But that will be after this. Okay, nice to have you back after the break. It's always a delight to have you on the program. You're spending about 1 hour of your time with us on the program. Just joining us, we have a professor of law, the former head of the department, University of Benin, a legal practitioner, and of course, an educationist as well, Professor Job Odion. Nice to have you with us today. Nice to have you. Yes, and also with us, we have an educationist. He's the proprietor of Legion Preparatory International School. He's an educationist of repute. And I must say that is one man that is also seasoned with national issues. I'm talking about Comrade Ben Osunde. He's been with us. We've heard his opening remarks. So let's just get the opening remarks of Professor Job Odion. Correlation of education and development of Nigeria. What's the relationship?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, as a starting point, globally, education is the catalyst for development globally, and of course, this has been well resolved and settled that without education can be development of growth in any country.
Yeah.
And coming nearer home, we must also concede that the country can only develop as far as our education is developed.
Yeah.
Illiteracy and non-skill in any sector not help any country. And so this country, I think for some time we have made some cautious efforts, especially in the First Republic, just after the colonial master have left us, to lay a blueprint for our educational sector.
Yeah.
A lot of reforms have taken place in the educational sector, and of course we have moved from the theoretical aspect of our educational structure to what we now call the more practical or the soft skills.
Okay.
To ensure that our students are well grounded in all aspects of human endeavor, so that when they come out, they are productive, they are marketable, and they can also be self-employed.
Okay.
And in Nigerian perspective, education must be given its due cost, must be given its due education, and government must also ensure that the private sector is happy there. It's encouraged to get involved, because education is a very big sector. The government alone cannot take on itself.
Okay.
And when we have hiccups of failure, because government appears on the side with so much responsibility.
We're going to talk about that on this show, because there's a school of thought that shares what you're saying now and a different opinion.
Okay, altogether, yes.
But okay,
should be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And Nigeria today, if you look without castigating our brothers in the north, you see that most of the unrest in the north today is because of their level of education. Education-based poverty.
Okay.
So if you look at the educational imbalance, which they have tried to make up over the years, a lot of structural adjustments, create a level playground for them, you see that the difference is there. You must consider that. And if you look at the Western world,
do you believe or do you subscribe to the fact that a country with poor education is likely to have problems of insecurity? Do you believe?
Definitely. I just give you an instance of even the northern Nigeria, which is within the country. You can see what you are seeing there. It's the level, insecurity there because of the level of education there. So those boys you see willing to die at any point in time because no education, of course, no basic knowledge, no hand skill, no soft skill, nothing. So they cannot even feed themselves. So they end up as beggars. They end up as mercenaries for some big shot somewhere. Who can play the tune for them. And in the global sector, if you look at the Middle East itself, God do respect to the countries that are hard-torn educational challenge also. Because there they have placed more premium on either more religion indoctrination, brainwashing, than the formal education or hand skills. And so you find that in Afghanistan, Pakistan, where even religion itself prescribed a special kind of education for them, which is tied to religion. And religious education is not really education because it's more from indoctrination. It will give you the room to express yourself. And so you cannot claim to be educated. That's why they can easily be swayed into side bumping, into killing and all that. So Afghanistan, Pakistan,
Okay.
The balance is there. So
Comrade Ben Osunde, I'm happy you are an educationist in terms of grooming children from where?
The grassroots.
The grassroots, okay. So, do you believe that lack of proper education is just the bedrock for insecurity, for underdevelopment? That means, do you believe that education should start from infancy? Do you believe that?
Yes.
Okay.
I strongly believe on that.
Okay.
Because if you look at education as a concept, it has three major domains.
Okay.
We have the cognitive, we have the psychomotor, and the affective.
Mr.
The cognitive is the mental aspect of it.
Okay.
Whereas the affective aspect has to do with those values that must be inculcated in an individual to live a meaningful life in the society.
Okay.
Values such as honesty, such as dignity, personal integrity, empathy, trust, humility, and so on.
Okay.
So all these are the areas that constitute the affective aspect of education and all.
Yeah.
In that particular area, the values, if they are actually mixing, the individual tend to grow up and just live the life the way it pleases him or her, and which may be detrimental to the development of the nation and all. Like what we are talking about concerning the insecurity in the north, that is gradually encroaching into the south now, whatever and all. If you discover that these people have not been properly groomed, the affective aspect of education is totally missing. Most of them have not actually been to the four walls of schools. Right from infancy, they are just living their life the way they want to live their life and all. Then the psychomotor aspect of it, where the talent will be enhanced, will be discovered or whatever and all.
Yeah.
But because they have not been to school, these talents are actually innate in them. It's actually in them and all. But because it has not been tapped through education, you see, they don't even know what to do to earn a living for themselves. Yeah. So they will resort to any form of criminality, and that will bring insecurity to the country.
Yeah. Thanks for these wonderful ideas of education. Okay, now it is believed that Nigeria could have been a better country, but the issue of access to education, paying of school fees, is a militating factor, Prof. Yeah. You are in University of Benin, which is a federal government owned school. They still pay school fees.
Yeah, all pay is call them charges, not really school fees.
Okay, charges. Okay, but private universities, you pay before you are given admission. Now, not all Nigerians, not all families can afford school fees. Don't you think government should be looking at making education more accessible so that more Nigerians can have education? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. I think it speaks to the policy framework of government towards education. But we don't say education must break it down into specifics.
Yes.
Beyond what you have said, which is the process to acquire knowledge, really. There are several layers of educational attainment. I think that as we speak presently, government has made education free at the primary level and of course secondary school to GSS 3.
Okay.
That is why you have the UBEB, Universal Basic Education Board, of course the state version. So for a country to be driven on a literacy platform, literacy itself, which is being able to at least read and count figures, so you can do other things. I think the government has put that platform, have that basic education. So if you are going to go to business, you are going to go to handwork as an artisan, furniture making, you can communicate, you can reason properly, because we don't have innate ability. That is accessible.
Okay.
You see, where the challenge comes is when people want to acquire formal education, certificates, paper qualification. That is when you start about universities and all that. Because otherwise, if education is seen from the aspect of just developing you to the level where you have the cognitive skill, as you said, to perceive, learn, watching people, somebody coming here to learn journalism from you, you don't have to acquire a degree in information, you have the perceptive skills.
Yeah.
So if that is what we try to do, which is what they do in the US, for example, where a very developed country, of course, the superpower of the world, then the primary up to the SS3 is enough. I think we can do that successfully, which they are not doing, though they can do. Then we still don't have any problem with educational issue in Nigeria. I can say so. As a man involved. Then when you now branch out, you want to go to technical schools. Go and learn technical schools. Go to other things. Don't go to polytechnics. Our police, it's so shocking. Our police that are strong to award degrees. You mentioned often struggle to award degrees, which is wrong. The police were set up to focus on technical skills.
Practical knowledge.
That is when in those days when you come out with HND engineering, I'm sure when you're establishment, in those days you pick somebody from HND engineering from Archie Poly, you will have more confidence than somebody from the university.
I understand.
The guys, after their own they go for 1 year IT, they come back. That's kind of it. So, but when we say everybody wants to go to university, that's why you have this avalanche of universities. Or universities shopping up every day. That's why Uniben will be stockpiled with admission requests.
Yes.
To do your chance that 100,000 people want to come to Uniben to acquire a degree. And not a degree, you have a paper. There's no because it's just not there.
Okay.
And the same university, after you spend 4 years, you are told to come and start learning entrepreneurial skills.
Prof, you must comment on this issue, but that will be after Ben has spoken. You talk about degrees, certificates, and Nigerian graduate is really employable. You talk about that. But let's get there. Ben is into education. He's a proprietor of a school, and that makes him very qualified to talk on this. Then, now, don't you think that the reason Nigeria is not well developed is that Nigeria as a country, we emphasize or put emphasis on certificate, theories, without practicals, without vocational skills? Don't you think is the undoing of this country?
Yes, I would target as a poor leadership.
Okay.
Poor leadership skill. They understood quite alright that it is difficult for them to fund these institutions properly. So they just had to go to the classroom and teach theories. Because if you have to really go into real practicals, you spend money. You have to build a well-standard laboratories. Computer laboratories, chemistry laboratories, physics laboratories, home economics laboratories, and all these equipment in these laboratories are quite very expensive and all. But if they have to fund education properly, I don't think it will be a problem. If the budgetary allocation for education is actually given to education and all this laboratory for practical knowledge will be well funded, and all this equipment will be there and all. But because they knew that our laboratories are not properly funded and all, they allow lecturers, teachers to do the theory aspect alone. And by the time you do theories aspect alone and all, at the end you'll be giving certificates. So without the certificate, you cannot get employed, or you are not employable. But if you get the practical knowledge right from the grassroots or whatever, without even you not having the certificate, you can as well go and establish a business of your own. You can establish a small-scale industry where you can survive and kind of realize what we call self-actualization within the society and all. So government has not actually come out fully to tell us what is wrong with the educational sector. They are not ready to spend money in the educational sector. Like when I was trying to go through the allocation for education for 2020 was just about 6.7%, which is against a United Nations organization of about 26% or whatever. The best I've ever had was in 2008 when I saw 30% budgetary allocation to education and all. So right now in 2020, we are not even talking about 2021 now. 2020, it was about 6.7. In 2019, it was about 7.04%, which is so infinitesimal compared to the benefits that you acquire from education and all. So if government wants to be sincere, they should equip our laboratories for real practical trainings. What we are after now is practical trainings. You cannot be a mechanical engineer and you don't know anything about what happens to your car if your car finally goes off.
Most mechanical engineers take their vehicles to the roadside
mechanic to go for repairs and all. And yet you call yourself a mechanical engineer. Now, why are we giving contracts? Why are we giving contracts to people outside, contractors and all? Whereas we have Ministry of Works, where we are supposed to have civil engineers and structural engineers there or whatever and all. Because those people, they are not fully grounded in the practical aspects and all. They just went to university and read all about theories all through, and at the end we are giving certificates. So that is the problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Prof, yes, are Nigerian graduates employable?
Okay, well, first they are employable, and that was to what said. It's not really true. It's not really true to the extent that you say that there's no practical aspect of our training at whatever level.
It's not only it's not only about university. What about secondary schools? What about primary schools?
Yes, I want to come to that. You see, yes, there's some deficiencies to do that. Some cap, there's some layers of cap. But that is why my union has been fighting over the years. But
what's your union?
ASU.
ASU. Oh, we are going to talk about ASU on this program. Please go on. Yes.
But there's some deficiencies to do. But I still think that most importantly, if the areas where practical training is most important, I will emphasize first and foremost. You see, if you emphasize that practical training for an engineering student is because he wants to go through the HND program.
Yes. And
they will make it probably for that purpose. And then the practical training for an accountant because he has to write ICANN and ANA.
Yes.
And the mind pressure of practical training for a lawyer because after we'll do 5 years in law school. Once we get that clearly mapped out, then the issue of practical training or practical skill will not be a problem. Because every professional, every discipline has its own practical training component. It may not be in university. It's not true that when you go to university, you must learn everything practical there. A student of mass communication cannot claim to learn everything practical in university. You must come to a student like this.
Yeah, we have some of them here. Yeah, the management of ITV is so nice, accepts mass comm IT students.
It's a continuous process. And even the generation I talk about in university too, they'll go on IT too. Some of them will come to the engineering committee and work with you. Some will go to the NNPC or so the training is holistic. It's not really true that you go to a classroom and you do the practical right there and there. Yes, there are aspects of it. You have the training, which is basically introductory.
Yeah. But
practical skill is not what you teach somebody without the right words of the mouth or being in the lab itself.
Yeah.
The lab is just introductory. Practical skill you learn it by going to the local school, the main place. Come to the studio.
But most times, even IT students, they tell you 2 months, 3 months. Before you know it, it's reduced to a month. Okay, we see some of these realities.
The length of time has been reduced.
Yes, most times you see.
I agree with you.
Yes. So how do they now get the practical knowledge?
That's the feedback now. These are feedback that I established to give because even as a manager, as a body, if an IT student that comes you're doing 3 months, and start doing 1 month, you should challenge the institution or the department. Why is that? Why is it the funding? I tell you, the funding. Maybe they want to spend money. What do you do? Somebody was saying, like for my own program, law. At the time I said, you need 2 years to train lawyers in law school. I'm one of those advocates that you need a lot of time to train lawyers to become very strong. Not that when they leave the law school, they come to my chambers or any other chamber, they start learning all over again. But because of funding, so that IT students, because of funding too, because school has to pay. The industrial training fund, the ITF, is a body set up for such purpose. Funds are allocated. Maybe it's not enough, or somebody is sitting on it. That's why you can cut a training that should be 6 months to even 3 or 1. It's ridiculous. The training should be at least 6 months. So if the man takes 6 months to come and stay with you in ITV, you spend 6 months in NNPC or UBT or wherever, somebody doing, there's no way you can get the practical training. When that comes back to us, the academician lecturers, it's also do a review. And so it's well structured. But when you come back to the point fact, like you can also speak, government still has a challenge in funding.
Okay.
Because like you already said, the practical aspect of science and development, science are very expensive. The equipment has to be updated over and over again.
Okay.
And in this area of AI, artificial intelligence, there's so much coming out that if you acquire equipment today, 10 million, and you think you are proud, in another 1 or 2 years, it becomes obsolete.
There's a new innovation.
So to be up and doing, you need a lot of funds. A government that will buy equipment of 1990, maybe 2000, maybe the most modern one, maybe 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I'm just even more debt.
Yes.
I've learned in 1992, 1995. So that is the challenge. And it is mainly in the area of science and technology. That is why I will challenge. There are humanities where I belong
So,
to.
do you think that has impacted negatively on the development of this country?
Seriously, so
Okay.
seriously. Don't you tell me. So
Yeah.
a country that cannot manufacture toothpick. Country cannot boast of a factory that produces acid battery or dry cell battery. Or a transistor radio. And who are the phones we use? All these iPhones that we are proud about, they are done by secondary school pupils in China and Japan. Your child in the GSS 1 or primary 4, before they call it.
Yes.
In China is already coupling iPhones and all that. Their parents are the ones making the planes and the space shuttle. A good man like you is not making phone in China. They have no business. He's still out to make shuttle, making electric car. Is your child or grandchild
that will be doing phones?
Making phones and making all these small things. That's our challenge. Just where our children make catapult on a small.
Yes.
Small phone we do with rope those days.
Yes.
The tree. In the 70s.
Yes.
Skills we already learned.
Yes.
If we had the basic skills, just technology to develop our
those crude technology could have been developed.
But your station or your station have shown. I watched a program that a young man in Delta did a plane that could fly. Watched it. Video in where the young man was there. Nowhere to be heard of. There was a young man that did a drone went to overseas of 1 year, some years back, about 10 years ago. Where the young man was there.
You will discover that such a person is not even in the country.
Maybe one. Maybe so this.
That's another brain drain problem.
These foreign countries with their spies, they all over the place, spying, or they just speak him.
And that's
okay.
So,
okay, Comrade Ben. Yes. What's the way forward in terms of developing education as a way of impacting on the development of this country?
Yes, education should be seen as a tripartite affair.
Okay.
Not in the hands of one tier of government, federal government.
Okay.
It should be managed collectively by the state, from the local government level, the state, and the federal level.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be left in the hands of one particular tier of government, because education is a very big investment as far as nation building is concerned.
Yeah.
It involves substantial amount of funds that will be invested in this for you to be able to function properly and all. So the three tiers of government must rise up to the occasion and see education as a tool, a specific tool for that desired development that we are looking for in this country. So it's a way forward.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Prof, now insecurity. How can education tackle insecurity?
Yes, that's a very good question. And it goes both ways. It can interpose too.
Yes.
Now, first of all, we already mentioned the fact that in the Northeast, educational imbalance there is the catalyst for poverty. Because the system where children don't go to school, maybe I go and join one man, don't start using terms that may look as if I'm discriminatory. And then the person's training is just to train you, feed you, sends to go and beg, come back, whatever process you bring, what you eat. That's how a child from maybe 3 years old to becomes 18 years old. So that child has nothing of basic skills, something to learn. So whatever he gathers there, so once there's a mindset now to push you into religious extremism, then you find that it's insecurity. And when there's a pushback, as I was saying in North, now where they feel alienated, they feel sold out, they feel betrayed. So now see government and even education as a threat. They do that as educational attainment that has made them to be impoverished. Because the few elites up there who had access to education are the ones they feel are now using to manipulate them. And that's education as a manipulative weapon. So you now have very again. So we find that in both ways, there must be a way forward. In terms of first, you must ensure that this person is educated. Like I said, to the basic minimum, at least secondary education. Get a school set which shows that you are literate. It will not be a degree or HND. Thereafter, you go to your hand skills, learn other traits, other vocational activities, as you already said. And they'll be self-employed or they'll be employable, not even in government or white collar job, but even in factories, not factories, but in small scale industry, as we call them. So that they will be engaged. You don't have time to be talking about insecurity, kidnapping, banditry, and all other forms of
crimes.
And then, to the extent they want to fight the state or fight a specific religion. And then if you look at it from the other aspect of it, if you spend on education and everybody is educated, your knowledge is broadened, you also value your life and value your property too. Because this education, it takes a lot to know that this equipment is not useless. It took knowledge of somebody to take away this scrap. We can recycle scrap, we can recycle plastics. It's education. And the young boys are seeing these days who are picking scrap all over the place. If they didn't have such jobs, they would be into other things. Begging or crime. But some of them are so happy now come to pick your scrap and all that because somebody has found a leeway to recycle such things. It's education.
There's a factory for it.
It's education. It's engineering. It's a process. So these are the things government must emphasize. And that is why I keep saying that the challenge we have is that up there, the fact that the government there have been in their hands for such a long time, and they are coming with different policies in the 90s to ensure that they catch up with us over here. They see that gap. And when it goes to affecting them, that is why they can't see anything good.
That's a great one. It's a big challenge. Okay, comrade.
Yes.
Comrade Osunde. Now, how do we tackle insecurity with education?
We can tackle insecurity with education by ensuring that our school system are well funded. We are saying that government has made education free. Now it is free.
At the junior level.
At the junior level. Even at the junior level.
Yes.
Is it properly funded?
Okay.
When you go to a school, you see about 100 or something in the class. A lot of persons will be discouraged. Because after passing through such a class, I was opportunity to go and teach at TDR College when University of Benin sent me there for teaching practice.
Okay.
I was made to handle SS1 class. In the SS1 class, we have about 100 or something in the class. I had just 45 minutes to teach. I used about 30 minutes to calm them down in the class. Then I was left with 15 minutes to teach. And all.
To calm the students.
You see the ones that are discussing, they are some are even getting tired, they are sleeping, some of them are no longer interested.
Yes.
Because the environment is no longer conducive. So what is the end product of all this? You see half education and droppers. So when they are discouraged at that level, what do you expect of them? They go into the society and start constituting nuisance. Some of them will not even have the idea of, okay, let me go and learn trade. Let me go to one of this and learn one or two trades to better my life or whatever.
Vocational skills.
Yeah, vocational skills and all. They go into the society and start constituting nuisance and all. So if education is to be given and to enhance the development in Nigeria or whatever, it should be properly funded and make it very accommodating to all are sundry. Even if you are saying that they should even pay for it, you put a small amount of money or whatever and all. Majority of people can actually afford, if you say a little maybe like 1,000 naira per term or whatever and all, then from there you can develop some of those infrastructure that you have there or whatever and all. Then it will become what? Very very interesting for people and all. And most of these schools, they don't really have the needed manpower. They don't have enough teachers. Most of those government schools, they don't have enough teachers and all. So why do you think that most of them are running to the private sector? It's because of the level of commitment there. Though there are still some lapses there anyway, but the level of commitment there is very high compared to when you get to government school. So these people are actually discouraged. They are not enjoying the school system. So by the time they finally leave the system or whatever, they go outside and of course what will happen. Yes. So criminality and other forms of insecurity will gradually creep in, and that is what we are experiencing today. Okay. So governments still have a lot to do. Funding. Or if government cannot handle it alone, they can as well ask the private sectors to participate in research development. Even the multinational companies that we are seeing around today, and all those oil companies and all, they can be mandated to pay at least 5% of their profits towards the development of education. Just give scholarships.
As educational fund.
Yeah, educational fund. Give scholarship to desiring students, pupils and all. That will create that joy in them, and they will see education as a very interesting thing. For now, to the best of my ability, the educational system in Nigeria is not really that interesting. Okay, look at the issue of strike, ASU. A lot of students have been discouraged. Yeah. For almost a year, they have been at home. The issue of strike here and there and all. Now, what those lecturers are actually agitating for, they are actually agitating for proper funding of the university system. Because what the government is actually taking to the university system is so infinitesimal compared to the benefits that would have been gotten from the university system and all. So that is what they are actually agitating for. Now these people are on strike. Today you hear school resume, then for the next 6 months you will be at home or whatever. They are discouraged. And what do you expect of them? By the time they are tired of the whole system and all, they will just tell you, some of them might not resume again. If you check, if the lecturer is here now, check, you see all of them that actually resume now. Most of them, they are nowhere to be found.
So just find their way abroad.
Yes, they find their way abroad and all. Then others, that's why we are seeing all this insecurity here and there and other social vices.
Thank you, Comrade Ben. We'll come back to you. But Professor Odion, now there's another scenario. Yes. It is believed that probably there's a cartel that wants public schools, government schools to collapse. But some other people say, no, there's not like cartel. It's just that there's no political will by government to actually tackle the problem of ASU. I, as the anchor on this program, in my undergraduate days, I was frustrated by strike of ASU. It was a big problem. Some of us, we just lost a year. Some who changed courses, lost 2 years. And we're talking about over 20 years ago. The problem is still there. Is it that some people want to destroy public schools, and so that the private schools, private universities can increase or work stronger? Do you think, is there any problem like that?
Yeah, there's a problem like that. It's a very big problem, because when you talk about cartel now, I will use it in a literal sense, because in the sense that the interest of government, what is government's interest? You see, you know that the government of Nigeria went through the phase of military, and even as to pretend to be in a democracy now. Yeah. We still have that.
We are in democracy. We are democracy.
We are trying to be in the right.
Yes.
Just the way I feel about it, because it's most unfortunate. Because why am I saying this? You see, because of the involvement of the military and some people with military mindset over the years, the emphasis is on defense. And even the defense we are listening to today. So when you look at the allocation of budgetary allocation, defense takes the highest chunk. The defense. And you ask, what are you defending? Educational sector, next to nothing like the rest of them. Even the health sector, our life depends on next to nothing. Break it down to the base, we want to roads. So if you have a government that places its premium on defense, then how will the education thrive? And it has been happening in the last 4 decades, 40 years. So your experience is just part of it, and it's getting worse. What we went through was mild. What we went through was mild. It's getting worse because now you have more universities. The population explosion is there. You have more surge for education at the university level. Like I said, it's this disconnect.
Yeah.
If you don't have, if you're not a graduate, you didn't go to school. In our time, also in our parents' time, also.
Yeah.
In our parents' time, our grandparents' time, if you went to standard 6, or even to what you call them modern school those days,
yes,
you were all home and dry, you were good, you were employable, the quality of education was high, the pressure on government employment was not that high, and so you need to be ready to be a high flyer. I mean, that was very few persons went to university.
Yeah.
In fact, communities in the village, you have one person, the community will sponsor you to go to university. Someone went abroad, there was and there. So, but now every family wants to produce a graduate, so the family can. So the pressure is much. So how will government respond? The economy is dwindling too. We're not having money because of the little we have.
Yeah.
The oil price is going down, and the oil price is fluctuating. Government doesn't have the funds, but government will prioritize on defense. You see it. Like the federal government doesn't have enough funds, we prioritize on parties and
yeah.
So if government puts in enough resources to education, then the strikes will not be there. So most of the strikes, like I said, are because unions are fighting for first the members' welfare and then probably infrastructural development in the institution. Like we saw the last strike we went through, which have been over the years, and agreement has been reached, and the focal thing is that put this money, pump some money into education within a period of time, 3 years, 4 years, have this funds released on tranches, and you signed an agreement in 2009, 11 years ago, and then you can, since that 11 years ago, we have to go on strike every year. For the past 11 years, there will be a strike every year to remind you of your commitment. Well, if you organize a party convention now, billions will come out.
Of course.
Billions will come out. You see? So, but when it comes to education, you pay lip service. And so that is why you find that the universities now, we have so many federal universities, and then they are not well funded. And because of that, the universities are hardly in session. Unions, also today, it is SAMU or SAMU.
Yes.
And so
now it's polytechnic lecturers now on strike.
Now, so you find that it is not the private schools. Private universities, just where we now have more private secondary schools, I'm sure where the universities now where you don't have strike. Or where,
private universities, no strike.
So you're going for a
if you go for, yes, of graduating within 4 years.
You go for a 6 years. So because that incentive, there is this push among those who have the funds. That's why there's this conspiracy theory that those in government, those who have the funds, want to kill the public universities so they can have private universities. Because it's those who have money and go there. The average university, private university, you can't spend less than $1 million to do any good cost there. It's like $1 million, but my university of Benin, you can pay based on the $100,000 every session. My school fees in the my school charge, I call it, is not up to $50,000 a session. So that's why I see it. So it's meant the school that can accommodate
everybody, the
level of everybody. But you can't fund it. Because first the school fees, the school charges is not enough. Government will not bring money. Government wants the school to be self-sustaining. It's not possible. Education is a welfare, it's a social service. At least at the public sector.
Yeah.
Even in the private sector, the private universities are saying they charge money, but it's usually highly subsidized. Because to pay lecturers, to get equipment, to evaluate the faculty of medicine, to buy those equipment, high-tech that involve surgery and life, it's expensive. If you want to train a medical student, you say pay $5 million a session, but you have to say pay 1.5, which is still highly subsidized.
Highly subsidized.
So education is very expensive.
Yeah.
But if you place a premium education, not defense, not buying warplanes and artillery and the rest, and paying soldiers who are in the barracks, so to say, who are in the barracks every day and jumping.
And yet we still have more of the problem.
We still have people sacking correctional centers, we still have civilians sacking police station and the rest. So if you spend that in defense, you don't get any results. Our children still be kidnapped every day, even in secondary schools. Then why not just think out, look at this year, 2021 now, we're not paying budget for next year. let's increase education to at least 20%.
Yes, budgetary allocation for education should be increased. Yeah.
The money depends.
The way you have said it is very interesting. Okay, comrade Osude. Now he has just defended that actually it's not that there's a cartel wanting to bring down the public schools. Yeah. But some people believe that it's actually the private schools that you are guaranteed your 4 years university, as the case may be.
Yes.
Now, how do you think that schools can really be improved, whether government or whether private?
Yeah, schools can be improved.
Yeah.
Can be improved. First of all, let's look at parental approach.
Okay.
Let's come to the parents now.
Yeah.
For education. Now, the parents need to be sensitized fully concerning the issue of education.
Yes.
Now, the way some parents are handling educational matter in this country is becoming very risky to nation building. Right before, we used to hear of the issue of you can move from primary 5 to GSS 1, no more primary 6. But there used to be primary 6 before.
Yes.
Right now, primary 6 has been eroded. What we are seeing now, especially in the private sector now,
yes,
a child is now moving from primary 4 to GSS 1. And you see the parents will come to the school and will keep insisting that the child has to move. That if not, we will remove the child from the school and take the child elsewhere. And other schools will be willing to accommodate such child and all. And I think government has to come with a policy so that if we want to go to school, let us go to school properly. So whether private or whether government should have a template that will regulate all institutions at the state level, at the local government level, also at the federal level and all. So there should be a particular age limit that when you are not up to this particular age, you can't be in so and so level of education and all. Now, if they leave from primary 4 straight to GSS 1, when they get to GSS 2, you see that they want to skip GSS 3. They will skip GSS 3 and they will now move to SS 1. When they get to SS 2, they are no longer interested in SS 3 again. If you beg them to stay in SS 3, they will go to all those lecture houses you see around. And you know, schools, especially private school, the more we have more of the students, the more we can fund the system. Yeah. So if the students are not there, in most cases you see we have to kind of compromise in one way or the other. Yeah. But if government should fully come out, just as the way they are trying, although officially now, it's quite even in those states now, they are trying to regulate both the private and the government, but they have not actually looked at these aspects, this parental approach. So our parents need to be well sensitized. Yeah. Children should be they should move around their classes properly. It's this idea of trying to leap from one class and then go to another class, even when the child is not academically sound, you want to move the child, then you are not considering the age, you are looking at the age, you are not looking at the mental capability of that child. I know. So parental approach. And also, discipline has been fully eroded. Most especially in the private sector where I am now, yes, it has been eroded. Imagine you discipline a child in a private school, you see the parents will march into the school. They will march into the school and try to beat up teachers and try to cause chaos or whatever, simply because you discipline a child in the school. So all these are areas that they need to be properly sensitized. We have been doing our job. We try to, during PTA meeting, we discuss with them, we talk to them in all these areas or whatever. We have been trying our best, but they still need proper sensitization so that education can be improved. A child that fails to follow the proper system, what would that child? That child has nothing to offer when it comes to nation building, because the child is not fully grown. It's not fully grown. So I believe government should also do
that. Child becomes a threat.
Yeah, because to
society.
To society. You didn't pass through primary 5 and 6. You are now in GSS 1. You didn't pass through GSS 3. You are now in SS 1, SS 2. Then from there you move on into the university system and all. And the university is overcrowded. Yeah, so many admission requests. Yes, and not only that, education is age is also a function of good education. Yes, age is also a function. Maturity is also a function of good education. For a child that is so very young, less than 10 years, already in GSS 1. Normally 6 years is primary 1, 7 years is primary 2, 8 years primary 3, 9 years primary 4, 10 years is primary 5. The secondary school ought to be maybe 11, 12 years. You see the child is so young, the child does not even know what to do. All he knows about is to play in the classroom or whatever. So parents need to be fully sensitized so that we can have a good education system.
Ben, thank you very much. Just that time is not always our friend. on this program. But I would have quickly asked, are you saying that there's need for us to revert to the old system before you enter primary 1, you put your hand across?
But the boys have now, there's a rate of.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that generally. But we should also look at the age factor.
No, I'm just trying to. That's on a lighter note.
Yeah.
But I think the point has been made. Point has been canvassed. Yeah. There's need for proper development of the child. Yeah. There's need for proper development of the education sector as a way of curbing societal problems, which include the problem of insecurity. Comrade Osunde, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You have really done well on this program today. Yes. Professor Joe Bodon, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Too.
Thank you. We just hope that one day there will be no ASU strike again. Federal government will fund schools. Okay, on that note, I want to thank my viewer who has enjoyed the time with us on 60 Minutes Nigeria. If you did, next week, by God's grace, we'll be here again to look at other national issues. Do have a wonderful week ahead. Bye-bye.